Hey everybody, this is AJ the Retro Gamer, and it is Sunday morning, and I should be live streaming right now. I should be live streaming a video game called Alwa's Legacy, which I've been looking forward to playing since October. Why am I not live streaming? Because my internet service provider sucks. Also, hi. I haven't done recorded content in about 5 years. This is going to be very awkward. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm used to speaking and there being a chat, and if chat is very chill, just talking about the game that I'm playing, but I'm not playing a game right now. Why am I not playing a game? Because HughesNet sucks. So, let's see, it was like December 2016. I decided to do a single stream on a very, very, very cheap laptop, mostly as a joke. I enjoyed playing games online with my friends. I enjoyed guesting on other people's Twitch channels, while we were playing games or just chatting or whatever. And because I had such a cheap, I guess, laptop, I thought it would be kind of funny to stream on it. I genuinely like old games the best. Games that I played during my childhood, games that were released during my childhood in the 80s and 90s. Those kinds of games could play on that laptop just fine. However, to stream, I had to, have the game going on my laptop in OBS. I had to have the bot running on a separate computer. What did I have that running on? Oh, I had that running on an old netbook from like 2009 that was running Linux. It was a mess. And then I had a chat up on a Chromebook. So I actually had 3 computers that I had to set up to do this, but I did it. And it was Cosmos Cosmic Adventure. It was probably my favorite game of all time. And it still is. I love it. I actually started speedrunning it recently. And it was a lot of fun. People showed up. I had a great time, and I decided to continue streaming. So I call it the Potato Book. I streamed on the Potato Book for probably like 6 months. Because it was May then of 2017 when I got an actual like gaming computer that I could stream these games on. Now, of course, I didn't get like the highest end of gaming computer because I am still streaming, indie games and MS-DOS games and Nintendo games that just don't take up a whole lot of your CPU. So I didn't have to get, like a monster. But this is much better than what I had before. Now, I was living in a town that had that had really good internet. We had fiber coming in. And in the interim, if the fiber hadn't reached your house yet, they were beaming it over on like a microwave dish. And so I had a very, very good internet connection, like a ridiculously good internet connection, the best internet connection I've had in my entire life. Unfortunately, I was having to commute into work. And I don't mean a short commute. I mean, it was like an hour plus each way of highway driving. So it wasn't even, like sitting in traffic or something. It was straight up highway driving. And I work 410s. And so I was basically not getting enough sleep during the week, right? I felt horrible. Wasn't getting enough sleep. I couldn't stream during the week, right? Because I had to leave my house around like 5 a.m. and I would get back at like 7:30. At which point it's like, okay, I need to start winding down to go to bed, or otherwise I'm going to be even more grumpy tomorrow morning when I have to get up way earlier than I want to. I will say that at my previous job, my boss thought it was hilarious that I was going to be taking a new job that was going to have me arriving at 7 a.m. because I usually rolled in at like maybe 9 or 10. I would get up, drink some coffee, work out, maybe go for a bike ride or something, and then get into the office because my brain just doesn't do things at that time in the morning. So it was even funnier that I was having to get my butt out of bed at like 5, and then like there was no time for waking up. It was like, okay, get up, coffee maker already made coffee, grab coffee, start driving to work. So at about the same time that I got this gaming computer, I decided that I was moving closer to work because it was just destroying my health, right? It was destroying my health. It was destroying my social life. I couldn't do anything during the week. On the weekends, I was basically just like sleeping to make up for the time I didn't sleep. During the week, it was awful. So anyway, I moved closer to work. The problem, though, is that out there, the only internet that is available was satellite internet. So because I had just started streaming, I was like, okay, look, I'll run some tests. I'll see if I can stream on this. If I can't, it's going to suck, but I'll move over to making YouTube videos or something again, even though I will say that when I discovered that you could just like go live, like you could make, there's planning involved, right? There's planning, there's, designing overlays and whatnot. But like, there's really nothing you have to do afterward when you're done streaming. You just end. You might talk with people in Discord or whatever, but that's not any different than making YouTube videos, really. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm never going to edit a video again. And here I am 5 years later. So anyway, I moved closer to work, and HughesNet, which was the only ISP that was offering service in the area at the time, because their main competitor, which I think is called Viasat now, at the time it was Wild Blue, sometimes it's called Exceed. I don't know. I feel like they change their name every few months, not every few months, every few years, so people don't don't realize it's like the same shitty company, whereas HughesNet's just like, whatever, we're leaning into being satellite. Like, it's fine. At that time though, it was genuinely better than nothing. Far better than nothing. I could actually live stream on it. Now granted, my bitrate wasn't very high. I think the combined total bitrate was around 1,000. But I could do a lot with that. You can make that look pretty decent. Now, if I were playing first person shooters or whatever, it probably wouldn't look good. There's too much going on the screen. But for the kind of stuff that I played, even up to Minecraft, it was fine. I'm playing mostly older games. The newer games I'm playing are like retro inspired, pixel graphics typically. Or games like Hollow Knight, that, animated, certainly not pixelated, but don't have a ton of stuff going on the screen. So you can work with that bit rate. I believe it was sometime in 2019, there was an earthquake. So things had been going along pretty well up until then. I was able to stream at this decent bit rate. I was able to play Minecraft multiplayer, which was awesome. I really miss that. So anyway, it was 2019. I think it was like in July. We had 2 earthquakes that hit around 4th of July. I think one was actually on the 4th of July, and then the big one was the day after. And I was pretty impressed. My internet was still working. Now keep in mind that, when you have satellite internet, the receiver, it's a satellite dish that's, beaming data back and forth between it and a satellite. And then there's, the satellite beams down to various servers that HughesNet has on the ground. So anyway, I was like, wow, the internet's still working. That's impressive. Because I was fully expecting that to, shift the satellite. About a month later, it was in August, it was a little microburst. Hardline winds. I had actually just gone live to stream. Power cut out for like 10 minutes maybe, and the internet cut out. So it's like, oh shit. Initially I thought something had happened to the dish, like maybe it's off kilter or something, because when it came back on, I was dropping frames like no other, like nothing else had changed. My computer was fine. The power had come back on. I was like, maybe it's like off or something. There were a bunch of errors that were popping up as well. So it's like, oh shoot. So I called tech support, went round and around with them. This was like for several months. I was going round and around because initially like there was a problem. Whatever beam I was on was wrong. I don't know. They sent a tech guy out, which by the way, I had to pay for, because as it turns out, after 2 years, HughesNet's just like, we only guarantee our service is going to work for 2 years. And after that, if anything's wrong, we have to send people out. You have to pay like, I want to say it was like $125, $135 to bring somebody out. So it's like, okay, whatever, send them out. There was something wrong with the beam. However, when they corrected that, because my internet, when I was talking to tech support, they were trying to do stuff remote, and then it just like took the whole connection out. So anyway, that got repaired. However, I was still having issues with dropping frames, and it would hit like 10 minutes in. I could stream at my old bitrate, and then in 10 minutes it's like it got hit with something was going wrong. Anyway, long story short, I ended up having to work with third-party tech support, and I had a friend I met through Twitch who was also helping me with this, and turns out it was an intentional throttle. Like whatever had happened, like most likely the power going out and then coming back on caused my router to restart, right? And then there'd been an update in the queue, and that update pushed through it. And that update was causing any traffic to and from Twitch and probably other sites too to be throttled, regardless of whether I had run out of data for the month. By the way, HughesNet has, they call themselves high-speed internet, and they're like bringing out this high-speed internet to rural America. Like, it's bullshit though, because you get 10 gig. Well, depending on the level, you can get 10, 20, 30, or 50 gig, and then you're throttled, and you can buy tokens for, I think it's like $9 for 3 additional gig. If you want to, but that also only partially unthrottles the internet now because traffic to certain sites is throttled no matter what. We think. HughesNet won't admit that, but that appears to be what's going on. So anyway, it ended up stabilizing out to where I could stream at a bit rate of about like 500 or 600. I had to kind of test it periodically. If anything was wrong, or if I started dropping frames while I was live, I'd have to drop the bit rate by like 50 or so, and then that would take care of it. However, over the past few months, I want to say the really bad stuff started in November of last year, November, December. So quite a ways into the pandemic, by the way. So I don't buy that this was caused by the pandemic, because at this point, fewer people are telecommuting than were like early in the pandemic when I wasn't having any new problems. Anyway, it got to the point where like upload was just straight up not working. When I would do a speed test, normally I would get between 1 and 3 megabytes per second up. Now I was getting somewhere between like 0.3 and 0.5, which is a problem because all along I haven't been able to use all of that upload streaming to Twitch. And so there's a threshold where if you hit it, even if technically the speed is faster, you have to be like a certain amount below that. Otherwise it hits some sort of, I don't know what it's hitting. I don't know why I can't use all the upload, but I can't. And so when it drops that low, there's really nothing I can do with the bit rate to prevent from either disconnecting or, hitting a point where I'm just like dropping so many frames, it's not even worth watching. Right now, I've gotten to the point now where I am basically streaming at the minimum bit rate that I can in OBS, which is a video bit rate of 200 and an audio bit rate of 64 combined to 264, right? So there's no amount more that I can drop. So if I'm dropping frames, I can't drop it by 50, to get it below that threshold anymore. That I just can't stream. And so it's gotten to the point where I've been having to cancel a lot of streams, not because there's an internet outage, but because, my internet's up, it's just not working. And calling into HughesNet does nothing. They're just like, oh, everything looks fine on our end. Either they claim everything looks fine on their end, or they're like, oh, of course, you're throttled. And so like now, if I call into HughesNet, I make sure that I'm either doing it before I run out of data for the month, or I'll like buy a token for $9 so I can be like, yeah, I ran out of data, but I bought a token. Why is my internet not working? But it still does nothing now, right? They're still just like, everything, it must be your computer. Everything's fine on our end, but all of my neighbors are having the same problem. Everyone I know who lives in other areas who has HughesNet has been having the same issue. I've been talking to people on Twitter who are very upset with HughesNet because it's horrible. And they really have no competition at this point. And I don't know what to do. Because they claim that they're providing speeds of, I think when I signed up, it was 28 down and like 8 up. They get to call themselves high-speed internet, right? But they're not. They throttle a lot of traffic to and from certain sites, and also you only get like a few gig a month, and then it's like throttled to hell anyway. And so that's been a huge issue because that means we haven't been putting any money into improving rural internet infrastructure. It's like, oh, well, you can use HughesNet, but HughesNet's garbage. Even if I could use those speeds, which would be great, right? If I were the kind of person who enjoyed playing games like, for example, Fortnite, I wouldn't be able to because the latency is so high. The latency was initially what made it kind of difficult to play Minecraft, although like still doable, right? It was still enjoyable to me. It was just difficult. But now that the speeds are like all hecked up too, I haven't been able to play Minecraft since like last November, I think, which makes me sad because that's the main, multiplayer game I enjoyed playing, newer multiplayer game. But yeah, like it wouldn't it wouldn't be equivalent, living in a city and having normal internet. So anyway, it's I'm really hoping, that the current administration has at least been paying lip service to wanting to improve rural broadband, and they did re-up. The FCC has an app that it's actually been out for a while, but they stopped promoting it during the last administration. They're promoting it again, where it tests throughout the day your broadband service, so they can get like real on the ground data instead of just taking the data from the ISPs and claiming that that's real. So HughesNet's claiming that it's providing, now they're saying 50 down and 8 up. It used to be 28 down and 8 up when they sold it to me. But what I'm actually getting is more like 1 to 3 down, but only if I'm like maybe checking email. If I actually try to watch something, it throttles it. And then uploads been, again, like somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5, which is useless. It's useless if even for work, right? Like we're all telecommuting because of the pandemic. But even before that, my workplace is also running on just a horrible connection. 2 of our offices have HughesNet dishes, but most of us are working over like 2 T1 lines, which are 1.5 meg a piece, I think. So together 3 for like 150 people. So it's awful. And then like we got HughesNet, but HughesNet is horrible now too. And so our options are like, okay, do we do the slightly more stable but like incredibly slow T1 service, or do I want to go down to one of the buildings that has HughesNet and then also have it be horrible? But like currently where most of us are telecommuting, so I'm working in my living room, and so it's just anything. If I have to send a document to somebody, it's just like, okay, start the upload. I guess I'll just babysit it while I'm working on something else, if it's during work hours, or I'll try to set stuff to upload overnight and just hope for the best, which was working until whatever happened most recently with upload, which is that it's slow no matter what. And I should mention the FCC's test and my own tests when I get onto testmy.net, which is the only one that HughesNet accepts. Even overnight, a download is fine. I'm getting between like 40 and 50 down. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I can watch Twitch because it's throttled. But upload is still like, if I'm lucky, half a meg. So anyway, this is very upsetting because, if I lived in a place that had more than one internet option, I probably wouldn't have gone with HughesNet because this is like the last resort ISP, right? You don't, if you live in Los Angeles or Las Vegas or something, you're not going to be like, oh yes, I want to use HughesNet. This is great. No, you're literally anything else. So I can't switch, right? There is no fiber running here. The closest hookup, like the closest place where we'd be able to hook into like a fiber line is about 30 miles from here, so they'd have to run it either along the highway or maybe over the power lines for like 30 miles, which is going to cost a lot of money. There could be some sort of microwave system. That's what we're working on to try to bring internet to the workplace at least, but that doesn't help us here at our houses. That's only going to help in the office, but that will be a huge improvement. Because, like currently it's at home and at work, I can't get anything done because the internet's terrible. And so I'm sure some of you are sitting there like, oh, well, why don't you get a hotspot, and use your cell service as internet? If that were an option, I would. However, we only have 3G out here. 3G is being phased out and the connection itself is horrible. It's intermittent. So typically we get like our tourist season in this area where people, come out here to go hiking and whatever is over the winter. And so over the winter, we practically have no cell service because there's too many cell phones on it. And then when it's hot over the summer, it gets a little bit better, but it's still intermittent, right? And there's various reasons for that, some of which Congress had to deal with. And so at least on that end, it's better. And then the rest of it is just, the cost of upgrading equipment that hasn't been upgraded since like 1994. And that's on AT&T to do. We're attempting to work through that. But currently, my cell service is even worse than my internet service, right? I have to do calls over the internet, right? Like I can get text messages out over the actual cell signal, but unless it's like July and like nobody's here, I can't do phone calls over that. There's also some other things like, yeah, I think there's something called WhisperNet that people have recommended that relies on there being, I think that's over cell service. I'm not 100% sure. Whatever it is though, it can't reach here, right? I'm in rural California in the Basin and Range area, right? I'm between two very tall mountain ranges, as pretty much all of us living in valleys are. And so I can't reach whatever that WhisperNet thing is. Like maybe if I climbed to the top of a mountain, was streaming from up there, I guess, but not from my house, which is where, where all my equipment and my lighting and my computer and my electricity and stuff are. So anyway, that is what's going on right now. I'm recording this video because I don't know what to do. I'm a content creator. It's basically like my second job is I create video game content. I play old games on like during the work week and live stream those to a live internet audience. And then on Sunday mornings, I play indie games that are, typically Metroidvanias or roguelikes that are retro inspired. Right. So that they're also, not taxing on the CPU and don't have a whole lot of stuff going on stream. But I just that's the kind of games that I enjoy. And I can't go live. I tried going live this morning, but my upload speeds kept dropping down to about 70 kilobytes per second, which is way below like the absolute minimum, like probably 350-ish. That I need it to like not drop below to not take the stream out, because again, that 264 that bit rate of 264 is really the minimum I can stream at with OBS. And I know that doesn't look good, right? The only reason I'm even still attempting to stream right now is just out of spite for Hughes, and I'm just like, look, you can't take me down, right? I will continue I will continue to stream with a shitty looking stream that just looks absolutely like garbage, right? Like I don't care. Like you're not going to completely take me out. However, when it drops down that low, there's just nothing I can do because so many frames are getting dropped that the stream actually ends up getting disconnected. If I can even get OBS to connect to begin with, which often I can't. Yeah, so that's where I am. Again, sorry, it's been like 5 years since I've done recorded, like YouTube style content. So I don't know. This is a skill that I haven't used in a while. So I'm just sitting here talking into the into this camera right now as if I'm ranting to a friend, I guess, because I don't know what to do. I've moved on. My content is live streaming. It's not making YouTube videos. And in fact, like the focus has completely changed too. I used to do, it was like fitness content, right? I don't do that anymore. Video game content. And so I even like I have a few people following me on YouTube, I think, but not very many, and almost all of them followed back when I was doing my fitness stuff. So this is also just a completely different kind of thing than people the few who did follow me on YouTube followed me for. I did most of my stuff. It was on a website called Photocracy, and then on Instagram, and then occasionally I would do long form videos that I would upload to YouTube. So even then YouTube wasn't like my main focus, but I was making, videos. So anyway, because my following is now on Twitch, and Twitch is a live streaming platform, right? People don't go to Twitch to watch VODs. People don't go to Twitch to watch things that you've uploaded to Twitch. People go to Twitch to watch live content that they can interact with you with, which is great. But it also means, I'm going to be uploading this video and it's just going to go into the ether. Like nobody's going to watch it. I am going to go ahead and upload it to my YouTube channel as well, just because it's easier to link to. It's easier to link to YouTube, and there will be quality options. I'm actually recording this at 720p and a bit rate of 3000. I'm still on, I don't think I changed the frame rate. I think it's still like the 24 or whatever, like the TV frame rate, which I do because that, it's fewer frames that my limited bit rate needs to be split between. Makes it look slightly better than if I were doing, 30 or 60 frames per second, which would just look like absolute hot garbage. So yeah, that's where I am right now. I don't know what to do. I did sign up for the Starlink beta. That's not going to be here until the fall. So I'm hoping at that point there'll be enough Starlink satellites in the sky that it'll be fairly stable. I do know that it's still essentially in beta right now. It's in early access. So people who are on it right now, there's intermittent outages, but it's outside of those outages, it's pretty stable and the speeds are much better than what I have with HughesNet, and they don't appear to be throttling, to and from certain websites like HughesNet appears to be doing. But again, like I'm not on the back end with HughesNet. I'm not one of their engineers. All I can tell you is that appears to be what's going on. But it's also like the connection is also just overall not very good. So anyway, that's where I am right now. If this continues, I might upload some shorter videos to YouTube just to to be making something. But this isn't what I do anymore. I'm a live streamer, and I'm looking forward to the future hopefully having Starlink. But it's still a month's out, and in the interim there are going to be a lot of streams I'm going to have to cancel. If for nothing else, then I can't go live if my upload is dropping down to 70 kilobytes per second intermittently, or is stable but at like 300 kilobytes per second. It really needs to be around 1, otherwise the stream just keeps cutting out. So anyway, I'm sorry. Things should get better in the future. However, in the interim, things are going to be bad, and I'm going to have to cancel a lot of streams, and I'll do what I can maybe to upload some videos here and there. It's not really what I do anymore, but it's it'll be something, Yeah. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good rest of your Sunday. This is probably going to take like till tomorrow to upload, so hope you have a great rest of your Monday. And I will keep in touch.